Hi, this is Ethan Morales, and I'm going to be presenting Modern Symphonies by Dakota Velasquez, Eleni Hernandez, Ethan Morales, and Sheila Hernandez. Background on symphonies. Symphonies are mass musical productions that were made by conductors who created music to combine an expression of what they feel or certain type of ways that would be normal to culture. We see them dating back to 1590 in the Baroque era. Symphonies have evolved over time in history, just as most things have, but definitely through technology. As history has changed, so has music. This slideshow will tell you how symphonies have changed due to instruments and technological advancements. First, we're going to start with some major pieces. Major pieces in the Baroque era were created by Johann Sebastian Bach, Antonio Vivaldi, Handel, and others. We have four seasons in Messiah, six suites for accompanying cello. The Messiah is probably one that you all know from the signature Hallelujah part. Four Seasons is also a very known symphony. We have some other ones, a symphony in D major by Sammaratini, Paris Corlets by Telman. These are just some other selections that you could find very compatible inside of the Baroque time period. In classical, you have people like Ludwig van Beethoven, Chopin, and Amadeus Mozart. There are some major symphonies here. Orchestras have begun to become a lot larger now. They become bigger, and people decide to go to these now. The operas are beginning to open. We have different type of plays, and people are starting to find ways into these places. The classical period was a great time for symphonies that people would open doors to them to have this. We go into the romantic, where the expression of what these conductors are creating now. It's a time where times are actually evolving. We have the French Revolution and the American Revolution, and some of the symphonies that come out of here are like Spring Symphony Number One by Schumann and Piano Concerto by Chopin. These are just different type of symphonies that express naturalism and an emotional expression. As we move on, we have the 20th century with Callaway, Gresham, and Trotsky, and different other type of conductors that are more of a. We have a modern view now, where they've taken a classical sense of music and moved it into modern beings, and have some great symphonies like the Nutcracker or Rhapsody in Blue. Technological advancements and instruments inventions. This is a big part of it because without these inventions, we probably wouldn't have most of the things we do in symphonies now. The organ, the viola, cello, and violin in the 16th century. Opera homes, they gave us the ability to have a better top-notch acoustic setting. Then we have the metronome that allows us to keep beat when someone that may not have as great rhythm can now have that ability. Um, the invention of the piano. Piano was the greatest, I believe, the greatest instrument to ever be created. It can help not just musicians but also singers. So it allows them to hold pitch in certain ways. Um, we come into now the end of the 19th century, but during this, we had the creation of brass instruments. Now, before that, you had your woodwinds and um, your strings, but the brass gives it that grittiness and the ability to just have a different flavor. We have recording implements come in place. We have radios transmissions you have evolved. We have electric loudspeakers, so now audibility will be loud and other people can hear it. We have stereo tape recorders and the DYX synthesizer. A synthesizer would allow any major modern symphony now to be almost perfect in keys and tone and all these different other ways. So it really is an advancement. In the Baroque era, we have tons of instruments. Instruments are really becoming a major piece in symphonies. Obviously, that's what we have, but they're becoming a major piece of music in general. We have the viola, violin, lute, organ, harp, harpsichord, baroque flute, and oboe. In the classical, this is where we have larger orchestras and they dominate the sound and music. And now we have a different type of variety. We still have the strings. We also have a double bass, a basset clarinet, basset horn, and a bussiano. Romantic areas where we have expression, and this really is a good time for instruments because now we have some thud in it. We have percussion with the counterbassoon, bass clarinet, piccolo, xylophone, drums, celeste, and bells and triangles. With modern, we have electricity, and we have the ability for our electricity to come into our music, and it's amazing because we have things like the electric piano and the Hammond organ, and even the electric guitar, and we have the ability to have audible hearing different now, and the audio different than what we would have had, 600 years ago. Um, the modern era of music in symphonies and instruments really changed. But I think the conclusion about all this is why we have the advancements that we do is because people wanted to get better. In times of during the romantic and the classical and even in the baroque, you have these guys that they were making incredible music and they wanted to keep making better music. I would be so impressed to see what they could do with what they have right now. That would be, I mean, just insane. I would love to see what Beethoven or Handel or Vivaldi could do with music that we have now. That is all we have for this. I would like to thank you for your time and I hope you have a great day.